Mellow bass screaming, rubber burns on black. Engines roaring thunder, ain't no turning back. Beats make a friction, sparks light the night. Track of war sounds, adrenaline takes flight. Metalheads moving, the trucks take the lead. Chasing that cloud through the chaos insane. Diesel hearts pumping, it's a high-speed game. Victory lap, gonna carve out the name. Rebels on my six, but my grip don't waver. Drafting with sharp, every move's got flavor. Brakes don't squeal, they scream in heat. On the asphalt battlefield, where the fierce compete. Rivals on my six, but my grip don't waver. Drafting with sharp, every move's got flavor. Brakes don't squeal, they scream in heat. On the asphalt battlefield, where the fierce compete. Tires grip tight, flames dance on steel. Spins and skids twist, every moment surreal. Checker flag whispers, a siren's call. Only one metalhead lies above it all. Turbocharged fury on straights we fly. Nitrous things pumping, we touch the sky. Back grandstands buzz, saying our name. Each lap we caught ignites the game flame. Metalheads moving, the trucks take the lead. Chasing that cloud through the chaos insane. Diesel hearts pumping, it's a high-speed game. Victory lap, gonna carve out the name. Whoa! Mellow bass screaming, rubber burns on black. Engines roaring thunder, ain't no turning back. Beasts make a friction, sparks light the night. Track of war sounds, adrenaline takes flight. Metalheads moving, the trucks take the lead. Chasing that cloud through the chaos insane. Diesel hearts pumping, it's a high-speed game. Victory lap, gonna carve out the name. Rebels on my six, but my grip don't waver. Drafting with sharp, every move's got flavor. Brakes don't squeal, they scream in heat. On the asphalt battlefield, where the fierce compete. Rivals on my six, but my grip don't waver. Drafting with sharp, every move's got flavor. Brakes don't squeal, they scream in heat. On the asphalt battlefield, where the fierce compete. Tires grip tight, flames dance on steel. Spins and skids twist, every moment surreal. Checker flag whispers, a siren's call. Only one metalhead lies above it all. Turbocharged fury on straights we fly. Nitrous things pumping, we touch the sky. Back grandstands buzz, saying our name. Each lap we caught ignites the game flame. Metalheads moving, the trucks take the lead. Chasing that cloud through the chaos insane. Diesel hearts pumping, it's a high-speed game. Victory lap, gonna carve out the name. Whoa! Mellow bass screaming, rubber burns on black. Engines roaring thunder, ain't no turning back. Beasts make a friction, sparks light the night. Track of war sounds, adrenaline takes flight. Metalheads moving, the trucks take the lead. Chasing that cloud through the chaos insane. Diesel hearts pumping, it's a high-speed game. Victory lap, gonna carve out the name. Rebels on my six, but my grip don't waver. Drafting with sharp, every move's got flavor. Brakes don't squeal, they scream in heat. On the asphalt battlefield, where the fierce compete. Rivals on my six, but my grip don't waver. Drafting with sharp, every move's got flavor. Brakes don't squeal, they scream in heat. On the asphalt battlefield, where the fierce compete. Tires grip tight, flames dance on steel. Spins and skids twist, every moment surreal. Check Checker flag whispers, a siren's call. Only one metalhead lies above it all. Turbocharged fury on straights we fly. Nitrous veins pumping, we touch the sky. That grandstand buzz, saying our name. Each lap we caught ignites the game's flame. Metalheads moving, the trucks take the lead. Chasing that cloud through the chaos insane. Diesel hearts pumping, it's a high-speed game. Victory lap, gonna carve out the name. Wah!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get ready to rock and roll here this evening as the Metalheads Truck Series is back in action here this evening with the Duck Donuts 212 here from Talladega Super Speedway as we go. A little bit wild here this afternoon. We're going to get a little bit crazy. It's going to get a lot of fun here in this race. And for a lot of these drivers, they're going to get some golden opportunities here to try to make some moves, trying to put themselves into a good position and try to potentially pick up a checkered flag here this evening for what is going to be a very, very fun and a very amazing day of racing action as each and every one of them ready to rumble, ready to go to battle. They get lined up here on the front straightaway and we get ready to go through our starting grid. And starting in that pole position is that 318 one-rail machine of Matthew Catania. To his outside, it'll be his teammate in the Celsius number 196. It is Caleb Kleinert who will start there in position number 2. Starting in the third spot, in the number 3, it's the Johnny Johnson Motorsports Sherwin Williams number 3 machine, Keith Prince, who will start there in position number 3. To his outside will be the 33 here. It is that ride of Jimmy Fitzmaurice Jr., who will start there in 4th, back in position number 5 in the Ultra machine. That is the 12 ride of Michael Newman. Starting in the 6th position will be the winning bid diecast number 92 ride of Clinton Woodby, is back behind him. Starting in the 7th position will be the Ridge Power Sports KR Gutters number 87 of John Herbert. To his outside will be the 133, the Paper Cuts ride of Ashley Ellison Jr. Starting back in position number 9 in the Napa Auto Parts number 27 truck, that is Nick Gardner. To his outside. In the 17, it's the Gatorade machine of Bruce Bernard. Starting in position number 11 in the stack up number 28, that is Nathan Somerville. Into his outside in the Liquid Death number 4 Chevrolet, it is Jesse Calloway who will round out our top 12. Starting back in the 13th position, the Valvoline Eagle 1 number 5. It is Matt Hayden who will start there in 13th, and to his outside it is the Sinclair Dyno Care Toyota Tundra of Mr. Rusty Modesty. Starting in position number 15 in the QH Designs winning bid number 97, it is Colton Hardy who will start there in 15th. To his outside in the 01 is Rooster Rodden. Starting in position at number 17, the 46 of Skylar Berry. To his outside, the Muleburger Custom Homes Sonic Graphic Designs number 42 of Kevin Winker. The 00, that is the Johnny Johnson Motorsports QH Design Sonic Graphic Designs number 00, Nate Cogdell, who will start there in 19th. To his outside, his teammate David Trailer in that QH Designs number 54. Justin Lawson and Rick LePage will bring up the rear of the field as 22 of our finest get ready to rumble here from Talladega Super Speedway as we end all the anticipation with our feature presentation. And I can already see you guys in the chat cheering on your favorite drivers, hoping to watch them park themselves up and into victory lane. And if you haven't already, make sure you guys hit the like button on the stream for us. Hit that subscribe button, become part of the Peacemaker family, and make sure you jump into the comment section. Let us know who you want to see pick up the dub here this evening as they build up that speed down the back straightaway, and it's the 196 of Caleb Kleiner who's going to lead us down into corner number 3. They're starting to hit that top speed now as they roll nice and easy down and out of corner number 4. So far, it has stayed clean and green, but look out as here comes that third line trying to get steam rolling there on the outside lane, and we are 3 wide. About 3 rows back of our race leaders as it looks like Caleb Kleiner able to lead lap number 1 here this evening in that third lane. It's flying. It is zooming. These guys have found each other and they are working well together, and it's pushing Colton Hardy right to the front of the field. K-Dub, Kevin Winker, right there with them. Then you take a look at that 54 of David Traylor Jr., the number 20 rider Justin Lawson, all using that third lane to work themselves forward here, and it looks like they may consume the race lead here on lap number 2. So virtually, these guys started at the back of the pack. They found each other, and they have quickly worked their way up to the front, and boy, oh boy, oh boy, has it been working well for them with that inside lane. The shortest way around the racetrack, man. It still has that advantage of being that short distance around the speedway. And for the 196 of Caleb Kleiner, he's going to lead lap number 2 here. Outside lane couldn't quite get back to the line to try to battle with them right there. Unfortunately, it looks like they lost a little bit of steam that last lap around. So we'll see if they can try to build that up again. Find that speed, find that momentum as the outside lane kind of falling back, and it's starting to, build up. They're starting to get more drivers into it. We see more and more cats starting to work their way into that outside groove as you see the 4 machine of Jesse Calloway's up there. The 46 of Skylar Berry's jumped up there. So they're starting to build more cars, more help here to their back bumper to make it a little bit more of a successful try. But that middle lane is kind of falling back here a little bit. They're down to about 4 or 5 cars here. A couple more have jumped down to the inside groove, and unfortunately, looks like the inside lane is going to continue to fall apart, and I think that's what's been really killing the speed here for that outside lane, as you do see the 87 of John Herbert. He'll try to jump to the outside groove. Unfortunately, not much there. No real help to his back bumper, as we see that inside lane just able to stay hooked together, stay rolling, and it's kind of, dissipated that entire outside lanes, and now we see them all falling backwards. The drivers out in front, though, that stuck with that inside groove, just continue to pull farther and farther out front here, able to work themselves nicely into a solid single file battle here at the front of the field. We'll have to wait and see if things pick up, if things heat up here a little bit later in this race, but as of right now, it has kind of stayed right at that strategy, right at that stage of just kind of being right there and kind of rolling together tight out there in a inside lane on the speedways. We got 80 laps of racing action. They just completed lap number 4 out there on the racetrack. So 4 laps in. We still got a lot of laps left to go. A lot of laps, a lot of times here to try to, make some changes, try to work on your car, try to figure things out, find your teammates, find some runs, and try to figure out a game plan and what you need to do and where you need to be to try to put yourself up and into victory lane here this evening as Caleb Kleiner continues to lead the way. You see it's the 87 of John Herbert still trying to get that second lane rolling, still trying to get that second groove kind of rolling here on the speedway, trying to figure something out here, knowing that obviously for Herbert, he wants to get to the front of the field. So does Matt Hayden, that 92 ride. We know Kevin Winker, he's one of those drivers that tends to always seem to find his way towards the front of the field when it comes to these super speedway races. It's kind of his bread and butter, and for that 42 ride, he kind of got up there with that first run, couldn't jump down or anything, rolling in that third lane, but he was able to work that third lane up to the front of the field, and now he's just kind of near back here at about that 8th, 9th position on the racetrack. So we'll see if he can make some more moves, if he tries to jump around a little bit more, make a couple different lanes, and try to make something happen here, especially as we get closer and closer to kind of seeing green flag pit stops kind of get underway. So we should probably see these drivers, I'm going to say, they're probably going to be coming down pit road. Take a look here. Let me double check some of the race information here for this race. So we are going to have a stage break at lap number 27 here this evening. As you see, that outside lane finally gets a great run down the front straightaway. John Herbert will get a good enough push. He jumps down to the inside. He'll jump in front of that 196 of Caleb Kleinert. And for the first time here this evening, I believe we have our first lead change here, as I believe for Kleinert, he was able to stay out in front there for that whole time. But you see this outside lane continuing to make some moves here. Matt Hayden, Clinton Woodby, they've been kind of moving around. Now we see Woodby jump down to the inside. Hayden's going to stay in the middle. So isn't that 42 of Kevin Winker. Unfortunately, Winker kind of stuck right in the middle here, kind of in the vortex out there in that dirty air, and he's hoping to get that four ride of Jesse Callaway quickly to his back bumper to try to help him out, try to get him rolling. But again, it just seems like as that inside lane starts to fall back, it just kind of drags the outside lane with them. So I think they really need not only the middle lane to start pushing hard, but they need the outside lane to push hard as well. If one of them starts to fall off, it seems like it starts to really affect their race truck. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that one. As Shauna in the chat cheered on K-Dub, Tower Operator in the chat as well, says hashtag Winker Nation. K-Dub says 3 wide. He says, is Eric Hardy cheered on Mr. Colton Hardy here this evening. Harrison in the chat as well says, let's go Keith, cheered on Mr. Keith Prince out there on the racetrack. Still sitting up there inside the top 10. Been true to this inside lane, and we're all about the 7th, 8th position as of right now. David Trailer in the chat as well says, David Trailer for the win, he says, for the win, cheering on David here this evening. Now, we've already seen a lot of drivers kind of move forward, some fall back, and now it's going to become part of just strategy here. You've seen that you got enough speed. You've seen what it takes to kind of work yourself up there, whether it's the third line, the second line. You know how many cars you're going to need. You know how many trucks you're going to want on your back bumper or in your group to try to make some moves out there and try to navigate yourself to the front. But I think now the big question for a lot of these drivers is going to be track position and green flag pit stops. When do we see potentially our first wave of green flag pit stops? Will it be after 10 laps? Will it be after 15 or 20 laps? Will we see them be able to make it there to lap number 27 for our first stage of the day? Now, I don't feel we're going to see them get that far. I feel we're going to see all these drivers unfortunately have to pit prior to lap 27 here of this race. They only have 70% fuel in these trucks here for this race, so only 70% of that tank will ever be filled. That's the max that they're allowed, is 70% of that fuel tank. So that kind of really backs them down here and really throttles back how much they can go and how far they can go before having to come down pit side. They have one quick repair back down behind pit wall, so if they get into a big wreck, then they can use that quick repair, get back into the action, stay in the fun. If they get tied up in, some minor contact and maybe a little bit of a wreck where they get slight damage, we're going to see a lot of these drivers probably elect to maybe try to keep that quick repair for later in this race. Hope that they can get the truck repaired down pit side, during a caution flag or a few caution flags to get the truck fixed back up, as every one of these guys is going to want to try to keep that quick repair for late in this race. When the craziness happens, the big wrecks start to fly, and if you get tied up in a late race issue and all of a sudden, that's the second time you've tried to use that quick repair, you no longer have it, your night could be done in a quick hurry. So you want to have it for late in the race because it could save your night and keep you in contention still for a solid finish on the day. But if you use it early and you don't have it late in this race, your night can end a lot sooner than everyone else's. So you got to be very, very mindful. You got to make sure you keep that kind of, hidden away, stashed away, and use it at the best time to help yourself out. As out in front, continuing to lead this race, it is now that 92 ride of Clinton Woodby as Woodby out in front, leading the way here in the Donuts to 12 here at Talladega Super Speedway, and the 212 is about to see our 12th lap come to a completion here this evening as these drivers head down the back straightaway nice and easy down and into corner number 3, and nice and easy down and through 3. They'll head out of corner number 4, back down through this tri-oval. Now the big thing that's going to be interesting here is obviously, this racetrack is a lot like Daytona, but Daytona International Speedway, you see the start-finish line right there, the middle of the tri-oval. Here at Talladega, that front straightaway, that checkered flag gets thrown virtually, a couple thousand meters after where you would see that Daytona checker flag and that start and finish line being out there on the speedway. So it's almost more down towards corner number 1 for that start finish line. So that really opens up the door, especially for how wide that front straightaway is. It really allows these drivers in the closing laps, especially that last lap, to go 3, 4, 5, even 6, 7 wide down onto the apron and taking these big runs, these huge pushes, and trying to put themselves into a position to potentially try and win this race. So I think we're going to see a lot of drivers really just using this first stage kind of as a learning experience. Not only probably for green flag pit stops, but also probably for, where they need to be, how long they have to wait until they start to push the subject and try to work themselves up towards the front of the field. And for a lot of these guys, it's just all about surviving here this evening. And you take a look back here at a bunch of drivers that are trying to survive here. They have fallen out of the draft virtually out there on the racetrack. You take a look here at Bruce Bernard, who kind of leads the second pack. There is a pretty sizable gap between them and the tail end of that lead pack. So they're just trying to play it a whole lot safer back here towards the rear of the field. They know that there is going to be a stage break. There's no point in getting tied up in a big wreck here early on and taking yourself out of contention. So you take a look at Bruce Rodden, Nathan Somerville, Michael Newman, Bruce Bernard, and Rick LePage in that 24 truck. He's back here as well. And now here we go. We're starting to see some of them come down pit side, and look out, Skylar Berry. Oh, Berry goes for a loop-de-loop down on pit road. He's got to get this thing pointed back in the right direction. Doesn't look like too much damage there for him. Let's see if we can throw this one into reverse. Let's back it up, Terry, and let's take a look and see what happens. Just looks like he comes in a little too hot. Has to get onto the binders too much. Just locks him up right there, unfortunately, and as he locks up that left front tire, it kind of just drags the car around and finally loses control and goes for that loop-de-loop. But we do see Kevin Winker, Colton Hardy, David Traylor Jr., Justin Lawson, Nate Cogdell, obviously Barry and Rick LePage all head down pit road. So we saw virtually about 7 drivers making that first wave of green flag pit stops. And now we're going to see Skylar Berry run into more issues. Oh no, Barry's been going through it here. Let's take another look at it as he's trying to build up that speed, that momentum coming back out of the pits here. And for the invincible ride, unfortunately, he's been going through it here the last, straightaway, trying to get down pit road and then off pit road. And unfortunately for the 46, Mr. Berry, that's really going to kill his chances here this evening. That could really put him at risk of going a lap down out there on the racetrack, because we did see Catania, Nick Gardner, Caleb Kleinert, Ashley Ellison Jr. all come down pit road. So that is the CCR Esports team all coming down pit side together. The 4 of them making that first green flag pit stop here today. And now we see Clinton Woodby, John Herbert, Matt Hayden, Rusty Modesty, Keith Prince all inside our top 5. Looks like they're going to stay out a little bit longer here. Jesse Calloway's right there with them. Rooster Ron's a little farther back, but you see virtually our top 7 nose to tail running smoothly out there on the racetrack. And then we do see this second group here a little farther back as well, including Rooster Rodden, Nathan Somerville, Michael Newman, Bruce Bernard. Now this was that group that was kind of had fallen back early on, that kind of sat back a little bit there prior to these green flag pit stops. And oh no, penalty here for the 196 of Caleb Kleiner. He ended up getting a black flag. So didn't Skylar Berry, for potentially speeding down pit road or unsafe pit road exits. And unfortunately for Caleb Kleinert and Skylar Berry, they are going to have to serve a black flag penalty, which should be a pass-through penalty here. We'll see if there's any holds or anything else. No, does not look like there's a hold there for Caleb Kleiner. So his penalty has been served. He does roll back out onto the racetrack, but that could put him into a very tough position, especially if he's still a lap down. Now, luckily enough, there will be the stage break. We will see a caution flag here on lap number 27, the completion of lap 27 here this evening. So they can try to battle, try to work themselves into a picture where potentially they can try to put themselves into a free pass position. As Gristo in the chat says, let's go number 3, cheering on that 3 machine at Keith Prince as Prince rolls there in that 5th position. Harrison also says, let's go Prince, keep it up is right. And for a lot of these drivers, obviously the front 7 right here, they do have to make a pit stop here before the end of the stage. So prior to lap number 27, at some point in time here, maybe over the next couple laps or so, we should see these guys head down pit side and make their first green flag pit stop of the day as well. As here comes that 17 ride of Bruce Bernard. He has made his way down pit road. Now, unfortunately, he did not come down pit side here with the group that he was running with. When we look at Rooster Rodden, Nathan Somerville, Michael Newman, they were kind of all running together, and unfortunately, they kind of got a little broken up. The 3 of them came down pit side. Unfortunately for Bruce Bernard, he did not pit with them, and unfortunately he's going to lose a ton of time there. As there they go, they've built up that speed, they're rolling, they're drafting, and for the 17 truck, unfortunately not as lucky here this evening. But we still have this lead group yet to come down pit side. Woodby will click off another lap as 19 laps down here in this feature event for the 92. 87 of John Herbert, the 5 of Matt Hayden. They say 1, 2, and 3. Rusty Modesty's back there in 4th with the 3 of Keith Prince rounding out our top 5. Jimmy Fitzmaurice Jr.'s there in 6th. Jesse Calloway sits in 7th. And then we got to look about 36.6 seconds back to Colton Hardy. Hardy rolls in position number 8, but we will see our first caution flag of the day as it looks like the Napa Auto Parts number 27 truck of Nick Gardner. Oh no, Gardner goes for a ride. Caution flag will be displayed, so we do get an early race caution flag here prior to that stage breaking right there. I'm not sure what happens, but my gosh, the 27 almost goes airborne right there. That truck looked like it was about to take liftoff. As see if there's another angle at it and see kind of the contact here between him and that 42 of Kevin Winker, as Winkers roll to their inside, they roll to the outside. It looks like the 318 looks to move down, and I'm not sure if it kind of just pulls Nick Gardner with them right there. The air, or maybe just trying to stay tighter to the back bumper of the 318. He tries to get squared back up. The 42 ride's kind of already running right there, and unfortunately they just kind of get tangled together, and then a little bit of a net code there as they kind of get drawn in together more through iRacing, and that's what just kind of completely turns that 27 truck around. Hopefully not too much damage there for the Winker Nation ride, but unfortunately for Nick Gardner, he is going to go for a slide here through the front straightaway, and that's where we'll see our first yellow flag being displayed here on our 19th lap of racing action. But now we're going to see kind of how things will get played out here. I feel a lot of drivers will still be on the lead lap, but for a driver like Caleb Kleinert and Skylar Berry, unfortunately here for both these two, they are not in the free pass position. The 24 of Rick LePage, he is in the lucky dog spot, so Rick LePage may get that good call, get the lucky dog back on a lead lap, back into the action here this evening. We'll have to wait and see as the back pocket number 24 ride set to get that wave around it. And now we do see, it looks like the rest of our lead lap drivers, except for, no, we do see Rick LePage is down there, Caleb Kleinert. They're in front of the Page truck, or they're in front of our next race leader, which I believe is Colton Hardy. So Hardy stays out, and for the 97 ride, he stays out, I do believe it may trap Skylar Berry a lap down. We do see Berry come back down pit road. He's going to make an additional pit stop right there. But for the 46, I think he's going to be the only truck not to be on the lead lap here for this restart. The 24 Rick LePage will get the free pass, the lucky dog for Caleb Kleinert. He's in front of our race leaders. He'll get the wave around. He'll get the free pass back onto the lead lap as well by being in front of our current race leader. So for both of those drivers, great break for them. Getting back into the battle, getting back into the action will be, a good break for them. And for Rick LePage, at least, it'll give him an opportunity to come down pit side right here, potentially get some fuel into that truck as well. Now, I know he doesn't quite need it, but obviously, you always want to make sure you take advantage of these, yellow flags and everything else where he could come down pit road, throw some fuel into this 24, and kind of be, equal here with a lot of these other race leaders. And I think if you're the 24, you kind of got to take that chance. You got to come down pit road, but it doesn't look like he's checking up. And unfortunately, it sounded like he wanted to roll out of it. It sounded like he wanted to get down pit side. Unfortunately, didn't quite get down there, so we'll have to wait and see if he can cycle back around. Maybe make a pit stop here in the next lap before we go back to green flag racing. As Caleb Kleinert will have to wait until he crosses our finish line, then he'll get the wave. I don't think he'll have enough time to come down pit road, or even if he did, I don't think he'd have enough time to get back to the lead pack in time to potentially get restarted here and be on the same fuel strategy as well. So that's the one thing that may hurt that number 196 ride of Caleb Kleinert here this evening. Now, I don't think they're going to use this as the stage break. We'll have to wait and see if they called it there for the stage or if they're going to race it out until lap 20, the completion of lap 27 still. We'll have to wait and see what these guys do. I don't see anything in the Discord on whether or not they'll use that as that call right there. We'll have to wait and see. We'll get them all stacked up. We'll get them racked up. We'll get ready to rock and roll and get ready to go back to green flag racing. As there you go, they're stacked up door to door back down into corner number 1. And for these drivers, they'll get ready for more fun here this evening. They'll get ready to continue to duke it out and go to battle out there on the racetrack. Let's see if we can get some of that craziness like we saw off the initial start here. We saw some absolute wildness there. 2 wide, 3 wide racing. Let's see if we can get back into some of that and see some of this, amazing truck racing kind of work itself out, and see if maybe any of these drivers can use it to their advantage and maybe put themselves into a good position to win some stage points out there on the racetrack. As Colton Hardy, David Traylor Jr., that 42 of Mr. Kevin Winker, they'll be definitely looking for some good stage points here. So won't Matthew Catania and Nathan Somerville. Rooster Ron, Ashley Ellison Jr., I know he'd love to get some stage points here as well, as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to green flag racing here in just a couple more moments after a quick message from our sponsors over at Duck Donuts. This is a Duck Donuts caution flag. Green flag back out into the air here from Talladega Super Speedway, as it looks like the outside lane getting a great restart. And for the 97 of Colton Hardy, he'll hang on to the race lead. Kevin Winker in position number 2. He was able to get a great launch, great restart there, and he moves up into that second spot onto the speedway. But we'll have to wait and see if he gets a black flag cleared there, because he did receive a black flag. There it is. It has been cleared, so he's able to pass pass on the outside lane out there on the racetrack, and it works into his favor because obviously big enough restart, great jump, great launch. It works perfectly here for him, and it puts him into a really good spot out there on the speedway. And now for the 42 of Winker, we'll have to wait and see what he can do, as I know he's going to be looking to try to earn some solid stage points, try to put himself into a good position, and hoping to try to maybe trying to pick up a big stage win, but unfortunately just could not get to the outside lane right there. But we do see the 28 ride. He's going to lead the 318. Matthew Catania kind of high and dry as Somerville jumps up into that third lane. Rooster Ronin, John Herbert, they go with them. Down the back straightaway here, though, Winker's just going to stay glued to the back bumper here at Colton Hardy. They've been working well together here. Same with David Traylor Jr., but now we do see that 133 of Ashley Elson Jr. He jumps into that middle groove. He's hoping that he can try to pick up his teammate, as back there behind him, the CCR Esports number 318 continues to fall farther and farther back. Now we do see the 0-0 of Nate Cogdell. He jumps into the middle as well. Let's see where Cogdell goes. Let's see how this kind of works out. Ashley tries to squeeze his way back down just in front of the 12 of Michael Newman. Luckily enough, he is able to get in there. That was a close call. And now here we go. We see Winker. Winker is going to jump to the outside, but the caution flag will fly. Yellow flag is out, and this one will end our first stage of the day. So the stage should go to the 97 ride of Colton Hardy. Winker will come home in second here with David Traylor Jr., Ashley Elson Jr., Nate Cogdell, our top 5 there in the stage. Nathan Somerville, Michael Newman, Justin Lawson, the 318 of Matthew Catania, and Matt Hayden will round out our top 10 there in the stages. Let's take a look back and see what happened here, because it happened fairly close to the front of the field, and it looks like right here we're going to watch that 0-1 kind of move around, shuffle around. The 87 of John Herbert's kind of all over his back bumper here as they're 3 wide, and it looks like they try to go maybe a little 4 wide here. John goes to the outside, but the 0-1 comes up, then he shoots back down to the inside. The 0-1 and the 87 just end up getting tied together right there. Unfortunately, just too many back and forths, and finally they just don't line up right. Rooster comes down the track, hard contact into Catania. It shoves the 6 ride of Rusty Modesty down the racetrack as well, and they see these other drivers get tied up into it. Unfortunately, big hit right there for that 0-1 ride. Heavy contact into the outside fence, and then you look at Keith Prince, you look at the 33 ride. They're trying to avoid that spun out 0-1, and unfortunately, they also get tied together. Looked like maybe they were going to be able to squeeze through there and avoid it. Unfortunately, just not as lucky. I think right there, Prince just makes that extra hard right-hand turn to try to make sure he avoids the 0-1, and unfortunately, the 33 was there. They get tied together. Now, luckily enough, doesn't look like any major damage. They had already checked up and lost a ton of speed there, so it doesn't look like too much damage there for them, but there was a lot of damage here on John Herbert's ride. Let's take another look back at it. It's our second caution flag of the day, man, and things here at Talladega, they happen quickly. And you can kind of see how the 0-1's been moving around. 87 even gets a shot right there that kind of helps push him into it. Jesse Calloway ends up getting some pretty solid damage there. The 196 of Caleb Kleinert, he goes around as well. Unfortunately for Rusty Modesty, I think Rusty may have ended up with the worst case of this, as he's in that inside lane. He doesn't want anything to do with what's happening here on the outside groove, and unfortunately, they make contact. Here comes that 0-1. Smash down to the bottom side into the 318, who bounces into the 6 ride. Modesty virtually levels out and straightens out the 318 of Catania, but it shoves him hard down into that inside safer barrier here at Talladega Super Speedway, man. That was a big hit for him. A lot of damage there for that Sinclair Dyno Care ride, and unfortunately, you do see a few of these other trucks going around as Jesse Calloway goes for his slide and spin. Luckily enough, doesn't look like too much damage there for himself, but man, that's a couple big hits. A lot of drivers, unfortunately, gonna end up in a very, very difficult position, as we do see Kevin Winker still rolling out here on the racetrack. Everyone else had come down pit road there on the completion of lap number 27, which is virtually our real stage break here, but I believe they called it there at that caution flag, as a medic in the chat says, let's go 97, cheer on Colton Hardy here this evening. Waterford Concept says, free Jimmy, 100% free Jimmy. Free Willie, free Jimmy, free everybody, baby. As Eric Hardy says, let's go. Keep it up front, boy. Cheering on Mr. Hardy here this evening as Colton picks up the first and only stage win on the evening. We'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to green flag racing. Now, I do believe Skylar Berry got the free pass here. So great break, great news there for the 46 of Skylar Berry. He needed that caution flag. He needed that stage break still, because that gets him back into the action, back on the lead lap, and he gets to join the fun here again this afternoon. Lost a lap there during that thing, as K-Dub says, leading a lap with the start-finish line after pit exit, you can get away with it, laugh out loud. Hey, I feel it, brother. I feel it. And, hey, for Winker, I mean, no harm, no foul there. Making sure you get that lap led. You make sure you get that bonus point into your back pocket. So he stays out, rolls an extra lap, gets, obviously, not only a lap led and an extra bonus point into his back pocket, but now he gets to come down pit road, and he's not really going to come out in a terrible position, because we do see an onslaught of other drivers coming back down pit side as well. Here comes Kleiner, Keith Prince, Catania, Colton Hardy, Newman's down there. Keith Prince, Nathan Somerville, Rooster Rod, and Ashley Elson Jr. Nick Gardner now for Winker. He may be getting a little bit more fuel than those guys, but he should still come out in front of a few of them here, and won't really lose, a ton of positions. He'll lose a bunch here, giving up obviously the race lead. He'll slide back in, and looks like he'll be restarting at the 14th spot, about mid-pack here, but really no harm, no foul. Got the extra bonus points as well, as Waterford Concept says, there's a Matt Hayden up there in the fight. There is Matt Hayden up there at the front of the field. There's Mr. Hayden right there in the Eagle One Valvoline Cummins number 5 ride. Out in front of the field now, has the race lead. Clinton Woodby will be in second with Justin Lawson there in that 3rd spot. Rusty Modesty, after the contact and the carnage and the damage, he's had to use that quick repair, get that truck fixed back up and back out there onto the speedway. And luckily enough for the number 6 ride, he'll be able to continue to keep on battling. He'll be able to keep on racing here this evening. Obviously, though, with some pretty solid damage and everything else, he'll be kind of down there and kind of getting that damage repaired. Obviously, saved him, but one more big hit, one more big wreck for that 6 ride, and his night could be done. He could be parking that race truck, and his day could be over here soon in this race. And there could be a few other drivers that may end up in the exact same boat, so we'll have to keep an eye on them and see kind of how that plays out. As Waterford says, I predict Matt Hayden will be 2 laps short on fuel. Oh no, Waterford, don't you put that on Matty boy, don't you put it on him like that. 2 laps shy on fuel. Ooh, man, I don't know. Hey, this could play out to be a fuel run race. That is absolutely for certain. It could play out like that in a quick hurry. As here we go back to green flag racing, as Hayden does get a good restart, a solid launch here, but it looks like we're going to be going right back under the yellow flag, as it seems like, again, we're going to have the 27 ride, the CCR Esports machine of Nick Gardner, running into some issues here on this restart. So they're lined up, and I'm not sure if he just misses a shift or they stack up in front of him here as we get going. Let's see if we can get another look here at this 27 ride. So the Napa Auto Parts machine right here, kind of getting ready to roll. They're through the Geico restart zone. You take a look at the 3 rider Prince, kind of get stacked up, and then the 318. the 196, the 133. It just kind of looks like each and every one of them sees a little bit of a brake check from the driver just in front of them, and eventually it comes up to the 27 right of Nick Gardner. Gardner all of a sudden sees the flames come out. He gets checked up to avoid running into the back end of his teammate. Unfortunately, not enough time there for the 4 rider Jesse Calloway to realize that the 27 is on the binders and trying not to run over his teammate, and unfortunately the 4 runs into the back end of the 27, shoves him up the racetrack, hard contact into the outside fence, pointed the wrong direction. Our flagman, getting a great look at it right there, is able to throw that caution flag quickly and put us back under the yellow. Solid damage here as well for this number 27 ride. So unfortunately for Nick Gardner, he's going to be looking to try to get that repaired. For everybody else, they'll get another couple laps here under the yellow flag to maybe make some strategy calls here. And hey, if you're Matt Hayden, you just got jinxed here by Waterford Concepts about being 2 laps shy on fuel. This may be your 2-lap swing of things here to make your way down pit road. Make sure you get that extra couple laps into your tank to make sure that you don't fall 2 laps shy on fuel here this evening. I don't know if Hayden's going to give up the race lead, but I feel we're probably going to see a lot of these drivers back down pit side. I mean, they've been under caution. They haven't really burned a lot of fuel off, but I mean, there was, at least 2-3 laps there under yellow that they've ran, plus that little bit of getting back onto the throttle here. So, it's been 4 laps technically since they were down pit road. I think we're going to see them all come down pit side. Yep, here they come. Looks like almost everybody's going to head down pit side, but it may be a little bit more strategy. Bruce Bernard may want some extra, little extra fuel into his back pocket here as well, as he also makes his way down pit side. So he makes that pit stop as well. He's looking to try to get this truck maybe out in front for a lap, lead a lap, kind of put that into his back pocket, kind of set himself up for a little bit later in this race. So we'll have to see what the strategy call may be for that number 17 ride. And it looks like Winker's going to stay out here as well. Now there is a couple that elected to stay out and not come down pit road, Bruce Bernard being one of them, Kevin Winker the other. Matthew Catania and Colton Hardy, they all elect to stay out here. Now, honestly, they may be half a lap, maybe even quarter of a lap less fuel into their tanks compared to the drivers that just came down pit side. I'm not sure if it was really worth it, but, in the grand scheme of things, maybe it's a little bit more than that. Maybe it is half a lap. Maybe that could be the difference maker between, having to pit a lap earlier than everybody else. But most of these guys are working with their teammates. If they got to pit a lap early, I'm sure their teammates would come down pit road with them and stay tight together as a pack and trying to, make things happen with one another and not wanting to leave one of their teammates kind of high and dry out there on the racetrack. But for most of these drivers, man, this has been interesting kind of to see, really what the plan is here throughout this race and what they want to do, where they want to maneuver. And obviously now with a couple quick caution flags, it gives them a lot of time to kind of think things over on, what their strategy may be for, the final, 49 laps now of this feature event. We've been clicking them off in a quick hurry, and we're reeling closer and closer to our halfway markers. We'll get a quick word in here as another Duck Donuts caution flag. Let's get a quick word in here from a couple of our amazing sponsors here with the Metalheads. Alrighty, as they roll down the back straightaway, they get ready to rumble here. And now we saw those few drivers stay out. They did not come back down pit side, so they're going to use the track position to their favor. And our new race leader is this 17 rider, Bruce Bernard. He will be the control car here for the restart here on lap number 32. I think 33 technically is what they'll score it, but here this afternoon, you know, he's got Kevin Winker to his outside. Winker's going to have to be careful not to jump this restart and put himself into a bad position, so he'll have to be really, really careful here not to make that mistake, not to put himself in front of the 17 ride of Bruce Bernard before that start-finish line, where we do not want to get a penalty. So he may even hang back a little bit farther than that 17 truck, give him that extra little bit of a gap there to beat him to the line here. But with Catania to his back bumper, I'm sure the 17 ride is going to get a heck of a push right here on this restart. Here we go, and that's what we talked about. 42 looked like he was going to get a good enough launch. He still beats him back to the line, but we're going to say that was not a jump. Winker waited until the end of the box. Obviously, for the 17, he got fired off first, and for both of them, they're pretty much dead on even there at the line. So a great clean restart right there. And for the 17 run, I think it was gonna go backwards in a quick hurry for him. Luckily enough, Catania gave him a great shot in the shorts, got that truck rolling a little bit smoother, a little bit quicker there, and he's looking to try to hang on to the race lead. For Winker's looking to try to stay there to his outside, but they gonna lose a couple of their drafting partners as here comes Matt Hayden. 6th ride of Rusty Modesty in the 92 machine of Clinton Woodby. They're going to go 3 wide here, 3 rows deep at the front of the field. My gosh, okay, well, hey, we wanted to see the 3 wide racing come back out there on the racetrack, and boy, oh boy, oh boy, do we ever get it, and is it ever working out for the outside lane? My gosh, what a run that they just got there down that front straightaway. That all 3 of them clear our 2nd and 1st row drivers here. And that middle and bottom lane just virtually stood no chance. Modesty, Aiden, and Woodby just kind of rolled right on by them there, and they're still pulling out in front. They're still opening up a lead between themselves and Winker. Winker leads the group back behind them. He's going to reel him back in here. He's going to get to the back bumper of the 92. But right there, that is a big learning experience for Matt Hayden, Rusty Modesty, and Quinton Woodby. If they can see virtually the same thing that just happened here, maybe happened late in this race, it could be the race-winning move for the 3 of them. Obviously, teammates, they've all worked well together here throughout the season and multiple seasons, and you know, all 3 of them really good blatant drivers out there on the racetrack as well. And now we'll have to wait and see if maybe we go to a little NASCAR overtime. We get some late race caution flags. Maybe that will be a strategy call that they gotta draw back up, use to their favor. And now I think if you're a couple of these other drivers and a couple of these other teams, if you saw what they just did, if you kind of learned a little bit off of what they were able to do, you may also be able to use it to your advantage late in this race. Just kind of jump up to that 3rd groove and put the power down. Only took 3 cars to work themselves from virtually being back in about the 8th, 9th, 10th position and working their way up into the front of the field, and even still being able to grow a little bit of a gap there for a little bit as well. So they probably could have went from even deeper in the pack and still drove to the front of the pack there and cleared not only 1 car, but all 3 cars. I think that is the most impressive thing, that, you know, virtually they could be at the rear of the field almost and be able to do that and get one of them at least maybe back to the front of the pack. So we'll see how that kind of plays out here late in this race. And now we do see Keith Prince. Looks like Prince, that 17 of Bruce Bernard, the 318 of Matthew Catania in that middle lane, trying to battle back here as they roll to the outside here of the 6 and the 92 ride. But it's Matt Hayden out in front who continues to lead the way. As Waterford says, okay, he'll be fine now. He'll be fine now. With that extra pit stop, he should be A-okay. He also says top 3 will lap the field. Top 3 will lap the field. Oh my gosh. Lap the field here at Talladega Super Speedway. That is That's diabolical, brother. That's diabolical. That is tough to do. That is very tough to do. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know if they'll be able to lap the field here in Danga, but if it was like, Martinsville or Bristol, a short track, I feel like we could probably see that, but I don't know about that one. As Harrison says, let's go, number 3. Great catch-up. Great run here. And for the Sherwin-Williams, number 3 machine, that Johnny Johnson Motorsports ride. He does get pushed out in front. He takes over the race lead. He jumps down in front of Matt Hayden. And for the JJM, number 3 machine, he's looking to try to lead a lap right here. We're trying to keep that 318 right now back there at Bay, but back across the line. Looks like Catania will be able to lead that lap. The outside lane has found their groove, has found their drive, and here they are just working their way right to the front of the field. As Waterford says, Rusty's roof number is upside down, and it bothers me. I can see how that would. Yeah. Honestly, I don't know if I've ever really noticed that. Normally I do, but yeah, that is true. He is the number 6, not the number 9 riding down the back straightaway. It looks like the number 9. Now, I'm not sure if he does that for the spotters up in the spotter stand maybe, so they can see the 6 down the straightaway. I'm not sure what the call would be here on Modesty or what the theory is to have it the other way. Normally they're all the same way like they are for the other cars. So down the back straightaway, when it's tougher to see the race trucks. Oh, look out! There goes Callaway! Caution flag is back out. Jesse Callaway, hard contact up into the outside fence here for him. Looks like Nick Gardner back there. He's going to get an opportunity to head back down pit road, get more repairs done to that 27 truck. But here for Callaway, he's rolling. He's strolling, and unfortunately, I'm not sure if he gets a big push here from the 20 ride. It kind of gets him bent out of shape or what may happen. Here comes the 20. Looks more to the middle. And unfortunately here, they're just not lined up correctly. And Callaway, the inside lane, kind of draws in a little closer. The 20 was more towards that middle groove already. And obviously they were clear of each other. And they get tied together, and it shoots that 4 machine down the racetrack. Hard contact as well. Not only with the outside fence, but unfortunately with Matt Hayden. And a little bit with Rusty Modesty right here as well. As bam, right there into the passenger side of that 5 ride. And for Matt Hayden, he shoots down the racetrack and luckily enough doesn't make any more contact. Looks like he's able to rejoin the field here without any additional damage or destruction there to the Eagle 1 Toyota, and he's able to keep on battling here this evening. Unfortunately for Jesse Callaway, some pretty solid contact there. You'll have to look that down pit road, try to get that truck repaired and back out onto the racetrack here and back into the battle. But another, pretty, quick caution flag right there. Now we did run, virtually about, what was that, 6-7 laps here. We now hit our halfway marker, 40 laps in, 40 laps left to go. This is going to be a golden opportunity for drivers to once again head down pit side, get some fuel, get some tires, get anything that you desire down pit side right here. That's 7 laps again. It could make a huge difference. We went back green flag racing, at the completion of lap 33. We've now ran 40 laps there during that, throughout this race. So they ran virtually 7 laps clean and green there before that caution flag was displayed. So I think that's enough. You come down pit side. Tires aren't really that important here at the Super Speedway, but fuel could definitely play an aspect to it. Not only to be able to run a little farther, to maybe hit your numbers and put yourself into a position where you can make some strategy calls later in this race, but also adds a little bit of weight to the back end of these race trucks. As they start to lose and burn more fuel out of them, it kind of gets them a little bit lighter on their tires, and they can kind of start to slip and slide a little bit more. The pushes on your back bumper have a better chance of potentially, knocking you loose out there on the racetrack and spinning you around. So having that extra little bit of fuel in the tank as well may help you out with handling wise when it comes to some of the bump drafting out there on the speedway. right into the 5-store. Yeah, unfortunately, right into Matt Hayden's ride right there. Oh man, tough break there for Hayden. That's the name of the game though when it comes to these super speedway races. Is honestly a lot of times it's just not. A lot of times it's not your fault. You just end up in the wrong place at the wrong time. You get tore up, you get tied up, you end up with a ton of damage on your race truck, and may have to spend a little bit of extra time down pit road, as we did see the Eagle One ride have to spend a little extra time down there getting some cosmetic work done to that 5 ride. And for Matt Hayden, he does roll back out there, still in the lead lap, as Caleb Kleinert, Ash Delson Jr., Nick Gardner right there with them. Justin Lawson came down pit road trying to get any of the damage repaired onto his race truck. Somerville's back there in 19th. David Traylor, we haven't really heard too much about David Traylor here in this one, as man, yeah, that definitely haven't heard too much out of this 54 round. We saw him run up there in that 3rd lane in the opening laps and basically drove their way up to the front right there in the first couple laps of this feature event. Since then, he's kind of just fallen back here, kind of, towards the rear of the field, and it's just been kind of quiet night here for that number 54 ride. As we are once again under another Duck Donuts caution flag here this evening. 4th one of the day, and unfortunately for a lot of these drivers, a lot of these caution flags, it gets kind of what's the word I'm looking for here, kind of not mythological. What's the word I'm looking for here, chat? Methodic. It gets a little bit methodic out there, just kind of rolling out there on the racetrack, and maybe even tedious, maybe a better word. Obviously, under yellow, you're at such a slow pace, and you're not, being able to race. All these guys want to put their foot in the throttle and battle door to door and make some moves out there. As K-Dub says, good thing about cautions here, you can take a leak without going a lap down. That is true. That is true as well. You definitely get an opportunity to go, use a bathroom or anything else, and get a chance to take some extra breaks there. So for the drivers, it's nice, but obviously it makes for a lot longer race here. All these yellows, they chews up a lot of time. It takes a lap virtually from running I think they're running about 52 seconds under green flag, about 52 seconds to run a lap. When we come under yellow flag, it starts to push more towards 2 minutes to work out there on the racetrack, maybe even a little bit more than that, towards that 2:16-ish area. So it really slows up the pace here. And when you got to run, 3 or 4 caution laps, and then you got to kind of, jump back out there, you run a few more green flag laps, and you're right back under yellow. As these yellows continue to build up, it gets very, very tedious for these drivers. As Waterford says, can report under 10 seconds of damage. 10 seconds of damage, under 10 seconds of damage there for Matt Hayden. That is a great break there for Matt Hayden. Obviously, you don't want to, you don't want 10 minutes of damage repairs. You don't want a ton of damage repairs. Obviously, that hit didn't really knock too much things, out of whack. The crew was able to take a sledgehammer to it, kind of get those fenders kind of pointed back out, and not, getting any tire rubs or anything else. And for Matt Hayden, he'll be looking to try to work his way back into the action here and back to the front of the field. As David Traylor in the chat says, pay window doesn't open for a while. That is correct. Pay window does not open for a while. You can't win it on lap number 43. You can only win it at the checkered flag. And for a lot of these drivers, just trying to make sure you're there for that checkered flag, making sure you put yourself into the best position late in this race to try to win this thing. And for the 54 ride, that's exactly what we've seen him doing. We saw a few of these other drivers kind of hanging out here towards the back of the field for a lot of this race, just trying to, click these laps off, get closer here to the checkered flag. I feel probably within the last, I'd say 12 to 8 laps is really where we're going to start to see more and more of these drivers really start to push it, really start to try to make some big moves, try to slice and dice through the field, try to get that third lane rolling here and try to push yourself or your teammates or anyone that may help you out here throughout this race, towards the front, and then try to put yourself into a position to try to steal the race win away from them here later on in this one. So we'll have to wait and see here. I feel for a lot of these drivers, it'll still be kind of that just riding here for a little bit. Still, just under half this race to go as we get ready to go back to green flag racing. They'll complete lap number 44. So 44 laps will be completed. Still 36 laps left to go here in this race. So with 36 laps still left, these guys want to be able to click them off in a quick hurry. They want to save some of these yellow flags for late in this race. They don't want to have them now. They want to have them maybe a little bit later, especially if they're in a bad position, if they've fallen back, if they're kind of out of contention for the race win. If they're too far back behind the race leaders, then they want the late race yellows, not these middle to early race yellows out there on the racetrack. And if you're the race leader late in the race, you're hoping that you don't see any of those late race yellows. You want to see it stay clean and green. You want to see, your teammates on your back bumper. You guys just trying to keep control of this thing. And for a lot of these cats, it's going to get crazy because we continue to see these yellows and we start to bring into that picture frame where these guys can come down pit road and make their final pit stop of the evening during a caution flag. That could be a great break for them. I think for a lot of these guys, they kind of almost want to see that yellow and not have to worry about another green flag pit stop here this evening, especially if you're one of the two cats that came down pit road and ran into issues and got pit road speeding penalties. We saw Caleb Kleiner. We saw that number 46 of Skylar Berry both earn black flags coming down pit side. Unfortunately, for a little bit, kind of took them out of it, and with no guaranteed yellows late in the race, if they were to get another black flag and they fall another lap down, they may not get that lap back out there on the speedway. So you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot late in this race, and they'll have to try to, mind their P's and Q's, not make those mistakes, not put themselves into a bad position later on this evening, as we do see the 92, the 6 ride hooked up here again. It looks like they've added their other teammate, the 33 of Jimmy Fitzmaurice Jr. into the action. Is Jimmy right there with them? And again, it seems like their team has just really found something more to that outside middle lane, especially on these restarts where they find a ton of speed, get rolling a quick hurry, and they find themselves working themselves back to the point here. Now we'll see the rest of the field slowly but surely start to reel them back in, and then they'll have to try to find each other again for potentially the next restart. But for right now, here comes that 0-0. Nate Congdale. Good to see Congdale up there, ready to battle, ready to duke it out here in this one as 45 laps completed. 35 laps left to go. It'll be 34 more laps left in this main feature event here. Next time by our start finish line. So nice and easy down and into corner number, technically not corner number 1, into the tri-oval here and across the line. They will click off lap number 46. So 34 laps left to go here in the Duck Donuts 212. From Talladega Super Speedway with the Metalheads Truck Series. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's jump into a quick Peacemaker Gaming. Crank it up. Crank up that volume, cheer your favorite drivers on, and let's crank it up. caution flag on the racetrack is Matt Hayden. We rode on board with him right there and got a front row seat of how quickly things can unfold here at Talladega Super Speedway as the caution flag gets displayed out there on the racetrack here for the really 5th time here this evening. So already 5 caution flags out there on the racetrack, and unfortunately for these drivers, a lot of them got tore up right there, and for some of them, it could be the end of their day. As let's see if we can take a look at a couple of these drivers that got collected. Let's take a look back here to Matt Hayden and the rest of these drivers that all of a sudden ended up just in the wrong place, the wrong time, and unfortunately getting tore up out there on the racetrack. Let's see if we can take a look at it here and see how it kind of all unfolds, because it looked like it started towards the front. We did see that 6 of Modesty kind of right in the thick of it here, and it looks like they're rolling the 3rd lane here. It looks like, yeah, so they're 2 by 2, and all of a sudden here, down and out of the tri-oval, it looks like Modesty and Clinton Woodby get a good run, and they jump to the outside of the 0-0 of Nate Cogdell. So Cogdell, unfortunately, looks like he's going to be back a little bit here. Unfortunately, looks like he's going to be sitting back just ever so slightly. And all of a sudden, as they roll down into corner number 1, I feel like we're going to see the 6 in the 0-0 kind of run out of room right here. I'm not sure if Nate just kind of moves up. Yeah, right there. I don't know if he gets tight, but you can kind of see the car straighten out just ever so slightly. And unfortunately, that is going to be, all it takes to, get things started here, get the party started out there on the racetrack is right here. Okay, so you're going to see him kind of come up the track, comes up the track. The 6 moves down a little bit, but kind of holds that white line, and eventually just kind of one kind of comes down a little bit, the other kind of comes up a little bit. Unfortunately, they run out of room though, and oh man, Keith Prince gets a big piece of it. You look at the 6 ride just kind of flying right there. Luckily enough, stays on all 4 for the moment, but you do see Jimmy Fitzmaurice Jr. hard contact into. That's where we watch Matt Hayden drive in there, get a piece of his teammate. Cogdell gets more damage as him and Hayden come together. Nowhere to go for, looks like Justin Lawson got some good damage out of that. So does it the 4 of Jesse Calloway. The 87 ride, I don't know if he was able to get through there. If he did, that was miraculous for this 87. Let's see if we can take a look back here at him, let's see if we can jump on board with that 87 of John Herbert, because somehow or another, I think he may have made it through this without getting tore up. Okay, so here they go. There is the spin. Look at the 6, almost airborne. The 87 gets checked up, checked up, checked up. Here comes the 6 back down the racetrack, and somehow he's able to dodge both drivers. Gets sideways there, trying to go back up the banking. Luckily enough, carries just enough speed that he's able to not go around and able to keep this truck A-okay. No damage right there. That was some cool, smooth driving there for the 87 ride of John Herbert. But unfortunately, that will see a lot of these cats down pit side here. And for some of them, could be down here for an extended period of time if they've already used up their quick repairs out there on the racetrack. When you look at Jimmy Fitzmaurice Jr., Jesse Calloway, Rick LePage, Nate Cogdell, that number 6 of Modesty. I think for Modesty, his night may be done. Obviously, that is a ton of damage. I feel he had already gotten tore up once earlier in this race, and I believe his night may be over. Tough break right there. A little bit of contact, and yeah, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Unfortunately, just, that's kind of plate racing. It's a little bit of side drafting. It's trying to keep yourself from falling back. If you're Cogdell, it's a little bit of trying to squeeze yourself back down into that middle groove. If you're the 6 ride, and unfortunately, when you play with fire, you tend to get burned, and unfortunately there for those 2 fast cats, they got burned right there, and they both end up with some pretty solid damage. And we did see the 0-0 able to roll back out here. Looks like for Nate Cogdell, he will stay on the lead lap and stay in this race. For Modesty though, I do believe he's used that quick repair up previously, and unfortunately doesn't have it in his back pocket. And with all that damage, he's going to have minutes, if not hours, of repairs there to that race truck, and that will pretty much take him out of contention of this race, as I do believe he is already at least now 2 laps down out there on the racetrack, so already a couple laps back behind the race leaders, and they're getting ready to go back to green flag racing. As K-Dub in the chat as well, K-Dub rolling under caution here, says that 42 and 97 are hooked up. K-Dub, you can't be cheering yourself on in the comment section. What in the world we doing here? K-Dub's in here glazing himself in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. What in the world is Winker doing? He's rolling there in second, and he's in the chat here trying to hype him and Colton Hardy up for, you know, some strong racing and some strong runs here through this middle portion. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out for him late in this race. We'll check back in with him. I know I say that, and he may end up winning this race or pushing the 97 of Colton Hardy to the win. We'll have to see kind of how this one figures out for him here this afternoon. Now for Winker, he's kind of got a reputation here at these super speedways, not only of being really, really good at them, but he tends to either get home with a really good finish, even race wins here at the super speedways, or he ends up on his lid and flipping here at super speedways, especially coming to the white flag. So if you're Winker, you got to kind of keep that in your back mind, that if you're making a move or someone else is making a move on you, that he could potentially be the one that goes airborne late in this race. As Eric Hardy says, fingers crossed right there. He wants to see Winker and Colton get a good finish here. He wants to see them get a good run here and potentially find their way up and into victory lane, especially for Colton here this evening, as we're going to get ready to go back to green flag racing. Is nice and easy down and out of Tri-Oval through that beautiful restart zone, and here we go back to battle. Great restart, great launch right there for the 97, our race leader in our control car there for the restart. In for the 97, he's able to quickly clear the inside lane, jumps back down low. He'll pick up Kevin Winker. Winker will stay there to his back bumper. I thought maybe we'd see him jump to the outside in front of Keith Prince, but it looks like he's going to stick to the back bumper here of Colton Hardy, and they're going to continue to work together down there in that bottom lane of the racetrack, as each and every one of these cats, they're starting to feel that intensity rise. They're starting to feel that pressure mount with each and every single lap, every single corner. We draw closer and closer to our checkered flag, and for a lot of these guys, they may be feeling that pressure. If they're sitting back there mid-pack, they want to be towards the front. They want to be in a good position. They may start to push here, but I think for a lot of these guys, fuel is probably still going to be a problem here. We saw a lot of them come down pit road right there on lap 52, lap number 53. Unfortunately, they are still shy on fuel to get to the end of this race here. Even with that extra lap or so on caution flag, we went back to green flag racing there with 54 laps completed. That is still 36 laps to the 26 laps to the checkered flag. Yeah, 26 laps to the checkered flag. So still a little bit too far out of their pit window. So unfortunately for a lot of these drivers, and pretty much every one of these drivers, they're still at risk of potentially having to make green flag pit stops here this evening. As that Rob Beaver in the chat says, let's go. He says, let's go. Says Robert Wolf, the number 13 Gorilla Garage Door is in the house. Let's go, baby. Let's good. Let's go, Robert. How are you, Mr. Wolf? How you doing this fine Monday night? Is no better way to get rid of the Monday blues than here on Peacemaker Gaming and getting to watch the amazing Metalheads Truck Series go to battle out there on the speedway, especially when it comes to one of these super speedways, as it just makes it for a super fun night of racing action. As the door-to-door action, the pushing, the shoving, the big moves, they'll continue to be produced all evening long. As Keith Prince out in front, but the 318 of Matthew Catania says, I want to get in front of that 97 ride. I know how well him and Winker have been working together here this evening, and he wants a little piece of it as he jumps down in front of the 97 with the 3 machine hooked up here in that outside lane. He's got the 17 right there with him. Matt Hayden's up there as well as David Trailer, as David's starting to work his way up towards the front of the pack here. here, and looks like for Keith Prince, going to lead another lap, going to stay out in front of the field here, and we'll continue to see them work back and forth and battle in here until, you know, in this race, things are definitely going to get tightened up here. We could see things get a little bit more single file here. Drivers obviously getting a little bit more concerned, especially now after having, you know, that 5 or 6 caution flags. A lot of these guys have experienced a lot of damage where they've spent additional time down pit side, or they have had to use their quick repairs up. They may be in a position that they do not want to push too hard anymore. They may just want to kind of get settled in till late in this race, and they probably don't want to see this 3-wide racing right now, because if they get collected, they get tore up in it, it could end their night at the speedways. You do see a little bit of contact, a little bit of wiggling right there between the 3 of Keith Prince, the 97 of Colton Hardy. Luckily enough, they all keep themselves pointed in the right direction, and they'll keep on battling out there on the speedways. We're going to jump back into our Peacemaker game and crank it up here for a quick crank it up. a beautiful crank it up session here this evening at Talladega Super Speedway. There's only 14 more laps left to go out there on the speedway, and we've already started to see a little bit of these green flag pit stops get kicked underway. We saw the first group kind of make that call and head down pit side, as out in front leading this race, it is that 3 machine of Keith Prince. Prince is out in front leading this thing, but we did see back on lap number 63, we saw David Traylor Jr., we saw the 46 of Skylar Berry, the 28 ride of Nathan Somerville, Nate Cogdell, Kevin Winker, and Colton Hardy all come down pit road and make their final pit stop of this race. Now, for everyone else in front of them, they are still going to have to come down pit side. They're still going to have to make at least a pit stop here this evening, which could work into the favor for this group. But looking at the lap times here, they have been running virtually about 3 to 4 tenths slower than our race leaders. So what that will do is it will virtually give Keith Prince, Matt Hayden, Justin Lawson, all this front group here a little bit better of a chance to pull farther and farther out in front of that second group on the speedway. Now the big thing is these guys are going to have to come down pit road late in this race. They're going to have to get lined together and try to work together here to make sure that they are all stacked together and in a good spot coming back out of the pits here, because if they're a little bit more broken up, if they're not right tight together, obviously it could give away all the time that they may save, that they may gain out there on the racetrack. And as you look back behind them, you do see, obviously, I do believe that is the number. Let me take a look here. So Jimmy Fitzmaurice Jr. is kind of the back in behind these guys. Matthew Catani has kind of lost that group as well. He's fallen back into position number 9 on the racetrack. Now he is about 3.2 seconds behind that lead group of our top 8 drivers, but he's rolling back to his teammates here. He's got Nick Gardner, Ashley Ellison Jr., Caleb Kleiner here, 3 of his CCR Esports teammates back here in this little bit of a second group. Now these guys still have to come down pit road as well, but they already find themselves, about 4 seconds back, about 4.3 seconds back of that lead pack here, and about 5 seconds back of our race leader. So for them losing that much time, I don't know what may have happened or transpired. Maybe it was that first group coming down pit road that kind of broke things up for them, and they kind of lost that lead group and had fallen back this far. And unfortunately, as they sit way back there, 5 seconds plus behind our race leaders, that could put them into a very, very difficult position, especially if things stay clean and green. And the way things are kind of running now with these, couple different groups, these couple different packs out there on the racetrack, it could definitely come right down to the wire here. A late race caution flag may be a must for a lot of these guys. It may work into the favor here for some of those guys that have already made that additional pit stop, because they were able to get down pit road. They've ran their run. They've had their, final pit stop of the day. They're going to be sitting in a position right now that they're just going to be full throttle, foot down. They're going to be looking at trying to get to this checkered flag with no issues and hoping to see this one stay clean and green and see it kind of cycle on back through. But even if the caution flag were to come out here in the next couple laps, and the 15 drivers in front of them have not came down pit side yet, they will have to pit, and that will put David Traylor, Skylar Berry, Nathan Somerville, Cogdell, Winker, and Hardy back in front of the 15 drivers in front of them, because they won't have to pit during the caution flag. Everyone else will have to come down pit road during the yellow, so it could really work as a benefit here to that group that had already made their pit stop. It could play into their hands if there is, a caution flag here before things cycle back on through. But for right now, they're still kind of running, a tenth or 2 tenths slower than this lead group. So unfortunately, they're still running a little bit off pace here compared to our race leaders, and unfortunately that's just going to chew up more time for them. That's going to put them into a bigger hole late in this race that they're going to have to hope that these guys come out of the pits or have problems heading down pit road that could make up that gap, make up that distance, and put them into a favorable position here, even for that second group back there being led by Nick Gardner. They are still a ways away behind here. They are 5.2 seconds back of Jimmy Fitzmaurice Jr. and continue to fall farther and farther away from that lead group. 6.2 seconds, almost 6.3 seconds back behind our race leader, Keith Prince. Now, there's no way that these guys can make it on fuel. They're all going to have to come down pit road. They're all going to have to pit here this evening. No one's going to be able to make it what would have been, that 26, 27 laps on the run of fuel to be able to get to the end of this race. So no one's really making a fuel strategy call here. I think they're just either banking on a caution flag or something else happening that can work into their favor, or just trying to use kind of their momentum, their speed right now, especially for this lead group. If they can just continue to carry this pace, continue to pick up time to that group that has already made their pit stop, then it could really work into their favor. It could play out into their hand. And now here we go. We are going to see the CCR Esports team head down pit side as Nick Garner, Ashley Ellison Jr., Caleb Kleinert, Matthew Catania, Rooster Ron in there with the CCR Esports team. He's going to come down pit road with them, and so won't Rick LePage. Now, the thing is for this 6-car pack that had just come down pit road, they got to make quick pit stops here, not only getting fuel and tires and everything else, but what they need is to be able to try to get in front of that other group, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to, and they also need to get out and together here in, single file as quickly as possible, and unfortunately, it looks like they may even lose one of their competitors as the 24 truck kind of a little bit farther back there. But here we go. We're going to see our race leaders head down pit road this time. Here they come. Look out, the 92 truck almost into the pit road wall right there. But it looks like everyone clean and easy down pit side here. Going to be able to get their pit stops in. Now for John Herbert, it looks like he kind of did not come down pit road, but we do see this lead group kind of jump out in front. So they do jump in front of that second group. Now we do see Matthew Catania. These guys, they're trying to stay to the draft with them. They're trying to stick with those guys. They're right there. They're just on the end of it here. They need to get drawn in and sucked into that 97 truck of Colton Hardy to really give them a shot here this evening. And then for the rest of these guys, where do they come out? They were able to gain a lot of time here. And right now for Keith Prince, quick pit stop here. He's going to be out in front, and it looks like these guys may end up with the massive advantage here by staying out a little bit later, by staying as that 8-9 car group, and it looks like it may work into their favor as down the back straightaway they're built up that speed. They're kind of rolling nicely here. David Traylor and the rest of this pack is still quite a ways back there behind him. Now, there's still about 5 laps left to go here in this race. Now, for these drivers, even with Catania and some of these CCR Esports rides, I don't think they should be starting to move around like this. I think they need to get more single file. I think they need to get in line, and I think they need to work together to try to draw into the front runners. I think running door to door and making moves and making a splash here, unfortunately, it may only get them as far as David Traylor, who sits in the 8th position out there on the racetrack. They still sit about a second back of this 33 right at Jimmy Fitzmaurice Jr., but they still sit even farther back to that lead group. Now, Michael Newman kind of not in a draft either, so they may pick up a couple extra drivers. That may help them lead up to our race leaders, but this 5-car pack being led by Clinton Woodby, Keith Prince, Justin Lawson, Jesse Calloway, and Matt Hayden, all of a sudden they find themselves virtually about 6 seconds in front of that second group, and they are coming. They have a ton of speed, they got a ton of momentum, but they got to gain a ton of time in only 4 laps left to go. 4 laps left here to kind of decide things here this afternoon, and for a lot of these drivers, they know that their bed may have been made. They got to kind of sit in line, and they just may have to take their lickings and battle it out here for what could only be, a top 7, top 10, top 6 run here. They may be able to catch that number 12 rider, Michael Newman. He's got no help here to his front bumper or his back bumper, so he's going to be a lot more off the pace. They should be able to catch up and work their way around this 12 run, but man, for that lead group, they are just absolutely gone. And now they do not want to see that caution flag. They want to see it stay clean and green. No late race yellows that could make a difference here in this feature event, but for 5 drivers, all these drivers back behind them, they want to see yellow. They want to see a caution flag. They want a chance to win this race. And sitting back here, quite a ways behind, they know they're not going to have a chance. They know they're not going to have an opportunity to try to win this race. And unfortunately, it could just take them out of it here, and they may not have an opportunity to have a good run or a top 5 run here this evening, as our top 5 still sitting virtually about 5.6 seconds in front of them. They're still a ways away. They have not really gained too much time, but there's the caution flag they're looking for. Nick Gardner's collected. Looks like Michael Newman, who was much slower than that group, looks like maybe he may have gotten ran over right there. I do believe Rick LePage, he needed that yellow. He's able to catch up here. I believe Caleb Kleinert also getting some heavy damage into that one as well. So, unfortunately for Kleinert, Michael Newman, Nick Gardner, you gotta hope that you got some quick repairs left in your back pocket to continue on battling here this evening. Let's play it back and see what happens as the 12 ride obviously was off the pace here. He was running a ton slower than the rest of these guys. That's where you see this pack able to use the draft, carry all that speed. They work themselves around him here. We watched this part here before we went back to the lead pack, and it looks like Catania and some of the CCR esports rides, they don't jump to the outside quick enough to try to work themselves around the 12 ride. They kind of get stacked up here in behind the 12, down through quarter number 1 and 2. Finally, Catania gets to the outside of the 12, and then it's going to start to the outside, actually. So they get checked up just in time to not run over him. Unfortunately, looks like maybe this bit of a move right here. If you take a look at the 97 of Colton Hardy, Hardy's going to come up the track right here. He shoots up the track just in front of the 27 of Nick Gardner. Gardner kind of has to lift and roll out of it there to make sure that there's enough room between him and the 97. Unfortunately for him and the 33, they don't get clear of each other. They get hooked together. It washes Nick Gardner down the racetrack hard into Michael Newman, and all of a sudden that's where things kind of get fired off here. Now for Catania, he gets some damage into it. Everyone else is trying to get checked up, and unfortunately Ashley Ellison Jr. doesn't get checked up enough himself and ends up clipping his own teammate right here. And for the 196 of Caleb Kleinert, he's looking like maybe he gets through that. If there's no contact between him and the 133, he probably would have been A-okay. Unfortunately, they still get hooked as you watch Newman in the 27 of Nick Gardner. And finally, you do see Caleb Kleinert. All 3 drivers, heavy contact down into that inside fence. A lot of damage. 3 tore up race trucks, and now hopefully they got some quick repairs to try to fix them back up and get them back out there onto the racetrack. I do believe for the 12 truck, he did have that quick repair. So didn't Caleb Kleinert, as both trucks have been repaired. Now for Nick Gardner, he's still down pit side, still has heavy damage here on the 27 truck. I believe his night may be done here this evening, and unfortunately, I think he's going to be out of this one. But for the rest of these drivers, this was the break that they wanted. This is the break that they needed. As David Traylor says, pay window just opened. It just opened, baby. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you guys are just tuning in and you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor right now. It's absolutely free to do. Helps us out a ton here on these broadcasts. Hit the like button on the stream for us. If you can, just hit the thumbs up button on the broadcast and make sure you hit that subscribe button. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today. It just helps us continue to grow and gain more fans in the stands and continue to put on, amazing showcases, amazing races like we have here tonight, as we'll be back up in the booth again tomorrow night for some more amazing truck racing, where you'll see a lot of these same drivers back out there onto the speedway battling in the HCK Beagles Truck Series. And we'll be back in action again pretty much every single night of the week here for the foreseeable future. I believe we're off Thursday for the Gatorade Duels, and potentially off Friday as well, as our Friday night series hasn't got started back up yet. But we're only a couple weeks away from Thursday being locked in for a few months. We're back in I believe a month or so for the Friday night series. It'll be back underway, and pretty much every night of the week we are up here in the booth and putting together just some great racing action for all the fans in the stands to enjoy. Is now, here we go, across the line. This will be the 80 laps that we were scheduled to run here this afternoon. We are going to head into NASCAR overtime. So, for a little overtime rules breakdown for you guys, is it will be a green-white checkered finish. So, they will have 2 laps to try to get this race in. When we take the green flag, if they can make it back to the white flag, the next flag will end this race no matter what. But if the caution flag flies prior to the white flag, then we will stack them up, we will rack them up, and we will try it all over again. We will have 3 attempts here at NASCAR overtime. If we go to that 3rd attempt, even if the caution flag comes out with 2 laps left to go, even just on the restart, then the race will end under yellow. But if we can see that white flag fly here, in the 1st or 2nd attempt, they could definitely, that's definitely kind of what we want to see. And a lot of times that's what we do see. We tend to kind of get to that white flag, and then all the carnage breaks loose. And here, before we even went back to green flag racing, it looks like Jesse Calloway found some carnage here himself. What in the world was going on here? So Calloway, our 4th place driver, getting ready for this restart. I don't know if he just locks up the brakes right there, or if he, turns the steering wheel. I don't know what happens, but the car just shoots up the racetrack, ends up into the outside fence here, goes around, has to get it pointed back in the right direction. He'll drive back up there. He's back into the 4th position. I just don't know what happened right there, but nonetheless, we digress, and we get ready to see, how this one's going to play out, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man, this is going to get fun, chat. Who do you guys think has it? Who do you want to see up in victory lane? As we still have at least, I do believe it is 20 drivers on the lead lap going all the way back here to Michael Newman. So 20 drivers still have a chance, still have an opportunity to try to win this race. Now Nick Gardner, Rusty Modesty, they are down and out of this race, but 20 drivers, they'll have a chance to try to put themselves up and into victory lane here in this one. As Harrison says, I bet he sneezed. I bet he sneezed. That's quite a possibility. Maybe it was a sneeze. Here we go, down through the restart zone. Our first attempt at NASCAR overtime here in the Duck Donuts 2:12 from Talladega Super Speedway, as Clinton Woodby with a good restart, good run, but here comes that outside lane. Unfortunately, middle lane, no help here. For Ryan, Callaway will fall back. He'll fall in at line about 6 down there on that inside lane, but now here we go. Skylar Berry jumps to the middle. Keith Prince, he jumps to the outside lane. He saw that 54 and David Traylor coming in a quick hurry. He'll jump up there. He's hoping to get pushed here to the front of the field, and it looks like down into 3, he will lead the way, but man, oh man, things are getting tight. One wrong move, one wrong bump, it can end your night in an instant, and it can put a lot of drivers into a tough position late in this race as they head down and into the tri-oval. Some big moves here as here comes Barry. He jumps up there, contact, more contact. There goes the 5 right. The white flag is out, even though they're wrecking down and across the line. We are going to race back to the start-finish line. This race is not over, unfortunately, for a lot of them. It is done. They will not have a chance to win here this evening, but here we go. Oh, man. Very big move right there for him and Winker. They got down and around that 3 machine of Keith Prince. Prince will have to fall back in line. Who does he go with? As Winker will get pushed to the race lead, as we see Justin Lawson pushing that 92 of Clinton Woodby, hoping that they can get a chance and an opportunity to battle for this race win here this evening, as there's more contact between Barry and the 92. Here comes Woodby. Big run. Where will he take it as Winker down through the tri-oval, back down across the line? It's K-Dub. Kevin Winker gets it done, and he will pull himself up and in to victory lane here this evening at Talladega Super Speedway. The Mule Burger Custom Homes number 42 ride is going to get a congratulation bump there, I do believe, from a good friend, good buddy, Mr. Barry, and unfortunately it was just the wrong time to do that. Probably should have waited for the straightaway, and unfortunately ends up wrecking our race winner. But for Kevin Winker, he wins this race. Winker gets it done. He picks up the checkered flag, and he will find himself up in victory lane here this evening, man. What a run, what a race, what a drive here for Kane Dub this afternoon, as he's able to get it done here in this one, man. Outstanding, says Tower Operator. Outstanding, unreal. What a run, what a finish here, man. That was exciting. We'll go back, we'll take a look there at that wreck, as obviously a lot of contact, a lot of unfortunate drivers getting tied up in that one, as Mark Jackie Miller says, let's go number 3. Megan White says, let's go 92, and Harrison says, let's go 3. Let's go 3. Great run right there for Prince. Great run for Woodby, and great run for a lot of these drivers, man. That was an incredible finish, an incredible race here this evening, and for each and every one of these drivers, man, some of them are going to be super happy, some of them aren't going to be as happy. Now, I do believe our overlay has gotten a little bit skewed. I'm not sure why it decided that it wanted to like redo the finishing order here. Winker is our race winner here. iRacing will show it here as Kevin Winker wins the race. Woodby comes home in second, and then it looks like potentially they're going to score the 20 rider Justin Lawson in that third position. I thought it was going to be Skylar Berry, but it looks like Lawson, by about a hundredth of a second, was able to beat Skylar Berry back across the line. So it is Justin Lawson who comes home in third. Berry back in fourth. Keith Prince rounding out our top 5 out there on the racetrack. But it's all Kevin Winker as K-Dub picks up the dub and gets to celebrate here at Talladega Super Speedway. Well, let's take a look back here at that white flag lap, because we saw a lot of great drivers, a lot of fast cats, a lot of great drivers who were having great runs here. All of a sudden, have their dreams crushed here in an instant, and this is just regular Talladega fashion, because they're about to go 4, almost 5 wide here through the tri-oval back to the white flag. You see Barry make a move up there, kind of throws a block on the 54. Now they're 3-4 wide, and it looks like it's going to start with the 133 of Ashley Ellison and the 28 of Nathan Somerville. See if we can take a look here at Somerville. There's the 28 right. So he's getting a big shove here from Colton Hardy. They're rolling that outside lane. He sees the 54, the 46. They go up a little higher. He shoots to the middle, but gets a little bit loose. I think it's more or less, I don't know if the 28 kind of comes down maybe a little bit right here. Obviously, he comes down prior to the contact, more towards that, blink and white line, but it looks like right there, Ashley Ellison, I'm not sure if he just gets a big shot from his teammate in that number 318 ride, but it looks like Ashley Ellison comes up the track into the left rear of the 28 of Somerville, ends up hooking Matt Hayden, who comes up the track. You see nowhere to go for the 4, nowhere to go for David Traylor or Colton Hardy's. They get tied up into it. The 17 ride can't get through there. It looks like for the 0-0, he's able to squeeze through it fairly nicely, but for majority of these trucks outside our top 5, ended up nowhere to go, and a lot of them end up with a ton of damage and a lot of tore up race trucks here after taking that white flag. You see Hayden parked up against the outside fence, a lot of them pointing the wrong direction, a lot of them just trying to survive in our top 5. They got their foot in the throttle, and they're just able to keep on keeping on. You do see the 0-0 of Nate Cogdale able to kind of keep on rolling there himself. He was able to avoid that contact, and luckily enough, he was able to get through it without any major damage or any issues, but unfortunately does fall back. And now let's take a look at the official finish here, because our overlay is showing the wrong thing here. Winker won this race. It is K-Dub who ended up winning this one, as Winker says had just enough fuel for the burnout. My gosh, just enough fuel for the burnout. That is beautiful. Okay, let's take a look here at this finish. Is it going to go all the way back here? Okay, let's fast forward this a little bit. So there is our top 5. They're going to keep on rolling. They're going to keep on battling. And then obviously you see Winker get a good run here with the 46 of Barry to the outside. Now out of core number 4, I'm not sure if Barry gets a little bit loose right here or what happens. Looks like Winker comes down, obviously trying to throw maybe a little bit of a block on the 92, trying to kill his momentum. I'm not sure if the 46 tries to come down as well or just trying to side draft there with the 92. They end up making contact right there, and I thought for certain that, hey, this is Winker's race. I thought they were about to wreck each other there for that second, third, fourth, and fifth position. Luckily enough, they're all able to keep it rolling. For Winker, he jumps up. He tries to pick up the 46 of Barry. Realizes Barry lost a whole lot more speed. Jumps down low. Make sure that Clinton Woodby can't get there. They're going to battle back down to the line. And for Mr. Kevin Winker, he is able to beat them all back here to the checkered flag. Tight race back there for that third position, but it is Winker who picks up the dub. And we are going to see right there, it is the number 20 ride of Mr. Lawson, who comes home in that third position, just beats Skylar Berry back across the line. So Winker would be in the 20 ride of Justin Lawson, our top three out there on the racetrack. And then after this finished, things in the stream there, the overlay kind of got all busted up and for some reason moved around. I've actually never seen that happen before, so that was a very interesting one to me. But we'll get ready to pull our race winner, Mr. Winker, up and into the broadcast booth here for his post-race interview. Post-race interviews coming up next year. We'll get these guys up and into the booth and see what they got to say about, tonight's racing action. Here we go. Our race winner, Mr. Kevin Winker. Hey, Kevin, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Winker, man, what a run, what a race for you here tonight, man. Take us back through this one. Obviously, quite a few caution flags, a lot of back and forths, a lot of different strategies here. Obviously, that late race caution flag, gives you guys another opportunity to kind of move forward here, give yourself a chance and an opportunity at even having a run to try to win this race. But you and Barry kind of get hooked together there. After that green flag, you push Barry virtually out in front, then you guys kind of got a little bit mixed up. You end up working yourself in front of Barry as they wreck back there across the line, taking the white flag. Barry works with you, pushes you around that three machine of Keith Prince. You're door-to-door at a core number 2 with Clinton Woodby in the 20 of Lawson, and it's kind of just a drag race there down into quarter number 3, and luckily enough for you guys, Prince ends up working with you guys a little bit right there. Jumps in behind you, makes it more of a 3-car pack compared to that 2-car pack. It's enough to pull you out in front. And then there at a core number 4, just kind of playing the odds, kind of blocking a little bit of the 46, blocking a little bit of the 92 ride. They make contact at a 4. It allows you to carry that speed and momentum to really just have no real threat there back down across the line. We didn't see Woodby or Barry or the 20 of Lawson get a chance or an opportunity to try to get your inside or your outside to try to steal this win away, as you're able to just keep your foot in the throttle and pull this 42 up and into victory lane, man. Take us back through it and what's going through your mind.
Yeah, man, that that was a wild race from the green flag. I mean, guys were shuffling, side drafting. It was fun. Like, I'm surprised we didn't wreck more. I mean, we were beating and banging, kind of early on. My plan was just I started in the back because they had some money on the line for the hard charger, so I kind of ran a really crappy qualifying time just to kind of see if I can get that. And then me and Colton, we hooked up there, man. I think we were to the lead by lap 2, and we started 17-18. That was just pushing the hell out of him on the top side, and him and I were working real well together all night. We always work well together on plate tracks. And then I told him, before that stage, I was like, I'm just with you here, man. Like, there's no point to wreck each other or try to race for the stage win. So I just was pushed in there, and the caution came out, and we got 1-2 in the stage. And then I think I pitted there, and then my plan was just kind of ride in the back for a little bit, because it was still like 60 laps to go. And then I kind of made my way back up there, and I was kind of back and forth, honestly. I was up there at the back, and then everybody got jumbled up on the fuel strategy. I think me and Colton kind of screwed that up because we didn't pit there with one of those cautions, and we had to take more fuel than everybody else. So then David and Barry and Cogdo kind of wait for us, and we were losing a crap ton of time to the lead pack. So if that last caution didn't come out, we would have been screwed. We would have been battling for whatever 10th or whatever. So luckily we got that last caution, to re-rack and restack, and we were just, I didn't want to be on the bottom. The bottom was not, it was really bad tonight for whatever reason. So I was trying to get to the middle to the top with Colton, but I couldn't do that. So then I didn't remember who the hell I was by, but I was in the middle behind somebody, and then they were all wrecked behind me, and I somehow made it through. I looked back at it, I almost got left hooked in the rear there, but luckily we kept it straight. And then Barry was up there, my teammate, and I said, "Hey man, let's get this work together here." We split Keith, and then he kind of didn't know where to go with Keith, so he had to kind of fall behind us, and that gave us enough momentum to get clear of Clinton. And then I was gonna drop down in front of Clinton so Barry could get the middle lane. We're gonna kind of have a drag race between him and I, and then I think him and Clinton got kind of tangled up there and slowed their momentum down, and I just kind of cruised the win. But yeah, it's been a long time since I've won a race, let alone a plate race. Usually I'm like second or third or on my lid flipping the catch fence. So this definitely feels good to get this thing back up in victory lane. First time this season. At just enough fuel, I ran out doing my burnout, so I had about one lap left. A caution or another green light check would have came out, I've been screwed there too. So yeah, the cards just fell, right in my hand tonight. I love these plate tracks, but there's so much that's out of your control that it's kind of scary. Like you got to trust people around you. So luckily, just kind of got lucky tonight and found the right people at the end there to push me to the win there.
Absolutely right people towards the middle of this race, towards the end of it there, and it's able to work out in your favor to put yourself up and into victory lane here this evening at such a great racetrack, man. Talladega Super Speedway here this evening. Winker, who would you like to thank for obviously a great run, great drive, great performance in your first win here on the season with the Metalheads Truck Series?
Yeah, as always, I'm going to shout out to Bruce Muhlberger Custom Homes, coming aboard and sponsoring me in all my leagues. He's a huge supporter of mine. We've been on a roll the last couple of nights. Last night I won $100 in my other league. Finished third in the field mileage race on Saturday, so we've been clicking them off here. Finally got the win. It's been a long time coming. The grind. This league is really tough to get a win in. A lot of fast cats in here, and anytime you can get a win, even if it's at Talladega, it still takes luck and skill. It's not just, you just hand it to you. You obviously got to pick the right partners and stuff. So, yeah, shout out to Bruce. He's a huge super of mine, and he just had his 21st wedding anniversary on Saturday. So, shout out to you, Bruce, for that. All Winker Nation, all of them guys and girls that come out every night and support me. The list is so long now. I don't even know who's even on it. Brandon, Justin, Brett, Nicole, Dylan, Amanda, Shauna. I don't even know. The list is so long. So shout out to all those guys and girls that come out every night and support me. I know it's a grind for them just to kind of stick with it even when I have bad races. So shout out to them for coming out, and cheering in the comment section. Nate Cogdo, Sonic Rep Design for the paint. If you need any paint stickers, designs, t-shirts, any of that stuff, you can check them out. Sonic Rep Design on Facebook. Hit them up for anything. My teammates, man, Barry, David, Nick Cogdale, Colton. Without them, I couldn't have done this tonight, man. You need teammates here and ones you can trust and strategy, and that's the key to the plate racing is your teammates. You don't want to be racing each other for no reason. Like you gotta, even if you want to get the lead, you still gotta ride in third or second or whatever until the time's right. So props to Colton. He had a really strong truck tonight, but got caught up in that last wreck. So did David, and I think Cogdo made it through. Then obviously Barry got top 5. So shout out to them guys. Every week it's a blast around those guys in Discord, man. I'd be cracking up in the race, just dying laughing the stuff they say. So yeah, props to them guys. Props to the all the series sponsors that put this on. Without them as well, wouldn't be possible. And then all the admins, Skylar, David, Cogdale, they put in a lot of work to keep this as fair as possible and clean and smooth as possible. So props to them for putting all the extra work into that. And then you, Aaron, for the broadcast, and we appreciate it. And finally glad I get this thing back in victory lane. You know how bad I've been wanting to get in a win. It's been a long time coming, in all my leagues with you broadcast. I haven't really won much in your broadcasting, so it definitely feels good to finally get this thing back in victory lane.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like it's been a little while, man. We've seen you back up here into the booth with, second place or third place finishes, especially when it comes to some of those strategy races. But here tonight, obviously a lot of caution flags, not a whole lot of strategy to go into this race. And, obviously it works out perfectly for you. You park that 42 up here into victory lane. K-Dub, congratulations on winning here tonight in the Duck Donuts 212 here at Talladega Super Speedway. We can't wait to see you back out there on the racetrack potentially tomorrow night with the HTK Beagles and see if you can try to make it 2 for 2 here on the week and put yourself right back up and into victory lane.
Yeah, I'm bad at road courses, so honestly, I don't know if I'm going to be there tomorrow night with the boot and at the walk-ins going, but we'll see. If not, then I'll catch you next Monday. So, just again, thanks to everybody that came out tonight, and hope it was a good race. So we'll catch you next time, Aaron. Thank you.
Absolutely, brother. Enjoy the dub. Don't party too hard down there in victory lane. We can't wait to see you back out there on the racetrack.
Sounds good. Thank you, man.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Kevin Winker, as K-Dub picks up the win and pulls himself up and into victory lane here this evening as we'll get ready now to pull in our second place finisher, the 92 of Mr. Clinton Woodby. Hey, Clinton, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. To get a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Clinton, man, another good run, another good race for you here tonight, brother, as another, podium finish. You've been kind of on a roll. You've been Mr. Consistency pretty much all season long, and here you are again tonight. Even though it's kind of one of those, lucky racetracks, you kind of just got to have a little bit of skill, but also a little bit of luck to make sure you don't get tied up in any of the late race, fireworks out there on the racetrack. And luckily enough, you guys are just in front of that big wreck back across the line here. Taking that white flag, and then you get to duke it out here door to door with Winker and Barry there to your outside. You're getting a great shove from Lawson. You guys battle all the way down the back straightaway, down through 3 and 4, though. Winker is able to kind of gain the 3 right of Keith Prince. It works into their favor as it gets him just in front of you. You and Barry make a little bit of contact, and it's kind of just enough to, let Winker run away with this one and pick up the checkered flag. You weren't really able to quite get back to his rear bumper to try to steal it away from him here in this one. But man, solid run, solid performance, and another good day here at the Speedway for you, man. Take us back through what's going through your mind.
Yeah, it's just a solid points day all around. I'm not sure where we finished for the stage, if we got any points or not. That was just kind of a blur whenever it happened. I can't remember that far back. But yeah, first congrats to Winker. He's always, besides my teammates, he's the one guy I'd like to finish second to. He pushed me to my first ever league win a few years back now, so it's always good to see him back in victory lane. And yeah, that last restart, me and Matt kind of had a plan. There was the 20 in between us, and he was just going to kind of use him to push me. And I think he got clipped or something. I'm not sure what happened. I looked up at my mirror, and he was sideways. And after that, it was just me and the 20 together, and Winker and Barry, I knew they were pushing each other. And then I thought Keith got knocked out and was just going to, not really have anything for us after that. But there at the end, it looked like he kind of gave the outside lane a little bit of a shove to get him past us on the bottom. So I appreciate Justin for sticking with me, though. He could have just chopped it down to the bottom whenever I was running the middle in 3 and 4 and just tried to take it. So I appreciate him for at least pushing me as far as he did. I don't expect anybody to not go for a win themselves or anything, but at the end of the day, you do have to realize sometimes pushing a guy will get you a position, and trying to pass him will lose you 5. So you got to make a decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Not giving up there, sticking with your back bumper, and it ends up actually gaining him a position as right through at the line. He's able to beat Skylar Barry back to the line there to jump into that 3rd position. So, he kind of got paid off for that one. Obviously, if he would have been making that move, putting you and himself kind of single file down low, as the outside lane, had picked up the 3 right of Keith Prince as after all that contact and everything else and down the back straightaway, he was there in that 3rd lane and ended up just kind of falling in behind those guys there back down into corner number 3. And then, yeah, gave him that shot, gave him that little bit of a boost, give Winker the edge here in this one, but still a very solid very good race for yourself as you're able to pull yourself back up here onto the podium, man. Another second place finish. I mean, obviously, you want more wins, you want more checkered flags, but, another good run here this afternoon is going to feel pretty decent knowing that you're just continuing to build up these points throughout the season.
Oh yeah, I mean, a podium finish every week is always a good thing for me. I remember when I first started on the sim, that was my goal, was to just get on podium, and now that I have goals to win the race, it's kind of a surreal thing for me. I never thought I'd be here competing with these guys and being broadcasted and being able to go back and watch it and having legitimate sponsors and everything else. So I appreciate everybody for all that, and these guys for making this league as fun as they do. I know some of the races kind of come down to fuel mileage here and there, but for the most part, we have some really good racing, and there's usually not two positions that are not a battle on the track.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's battling tooth and nail out there on the speedway, not wanting to give an inch and trying to take everything they can and get every spot they can out there on the speedway. And here tonight, you're able to jump right back up onto the podium into that second spot. Is there anyone else you'd like to thank here this evening for a great run out there on the racetrack, Linton?
Yeah, shout out to my girlfriend Megan. I know she's dealing with some things right now and doesn't feel the best, so hope she gets feeling better. And Blair Peterson, the winning bid diecast. I know I didn't have a paint scheme on tonight. I need to re-up my trade and paint, so appreciate him for sticking with me, and QH Design, Colton, for making the paint schemes he's made me, and Nate for putting on the league, and you guys for putting on the broadcast, and everybody watching.
Absolutely, brother. Well, we can't wait to see you back out on the speedway and talking about some of those fuel-saving races. I mean, Chicagoland can definitely be one of those racetracks. That's where we head next Monday night, and hopefully we'll see you right back up here in the broadcast booth again, maybe one spot better and up into victory lane again here on the season.
Yeah, we'll go for it. We're getting a little better at those fuel mileage races. I just won Friday night and got us a championship there, so we'll see what we got to do. Try to get another win.
Absolutely. We look forward to it and look forward to seeing you back out on the track, Clinton. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher. Now, our third place driver, Justin Lawson, I saw him in there for a little bit, but looks like he has jumped out of the waiting room, so I'm not sure if he's going to jump back in here. I don't see him down in any of the other Discords. So we may not have a post-race interview here for Justin Lawson. But let's see if we can get his stuff pulled up here at least anyways, because, man, great run, great drive there for Justin, and obviously would be with some great words there as well. Super happy that, he kind of stuck with them, kept rolling there with that, 92 machine. I mean, if he would have made a move, left him, the 92 high and dry, could have potentially left himself high and dry, but stuck with it, stuck with that bottom lane. Push would be up into a solid second place finish, and he gets paid off with a solid top 3 performance here this evening as well, as the 20 ride rounds out our podium. I'll double check the Discord. I still don't see him in here. He was in there, and now he's definitely dipped out, so he may have had to go to bed or get logged off for the night. Maybe dad duty or anything else. So unfortunately, doesn't look like we'll get him in here for our third post-race interview this afternoon. But shout out there to Justin Lawson and the 20 ride. Great run, great drive there for him this evening. We can't wait to see him back out there on the racetrack. Hopefully get him back up here into the booth next week. Maybe we'll pull him in prior to seeing the green flag fly. Maybe we'll get on a little earlier and get him up here into the booth and let him get his post-race interview in prior to next week's feature event. So we'll see if that can, kind of be made up for. But here tonight, man, great runs. Great racing, great performances here by each and every one of these drivers, man. They put together a heck of a show and an amazing race here all evening long, and oh man, it sucks to see it be over already, man. It was such a great race, such a great show here. Each and every one of these competitors, man, they put together just an amazing night of racing action. And if you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor. Please do hit the like button on the stream for us. Drop a comment, let us know what you thought of the broadcast, and make sure you hit that subscribe button. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today as we're on the road to 2,000 subscribers over there on YouTube, man. It'd be awesome to, be able, in a month or two, be able to hit that 2,000 subscriber goal here on Peacemaker Gaming. So make sure you guys become part of the Peacemaker sub club, hit that subscribe button, and join the parties here and join the amazing racing each and every single night of the week. But thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll be back up here in the booth tomorrow night. We can't wait to see you guys back in the grandstands cheering on our amazing drivers of the HCK Beagles. And we'll see these guys, the Metalhead Truck Series. They'll be back in battle again next Monday. But hopefully we see you guys here, each and every single night of the week cheering these guys on. As Daddy Duck says, like I said, I'd be back, or one of my teammates would be. Yes, Sirski, you were right, Daddy Doc. They were back up here. As that Rob Beaver says, as always, great commentary by the greatest there is. I appreciate that, Beaver. I appreciate that, Mister, coming in, showing the love here in this one. Says, great race, great job, guys. That Rob Beaver says, outstanding, absolutely outstanding, man. Heck of a show, heck of a race, man. These guys put together for us this afternoon, man. Huge shout to each and every one of them. Unfortunately, that will do it for us here this evening. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll catch y'all back here in the next one, man. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love.